And we're on with Scott Zielinski. We're in the garage. Uh,
So
Walt's going to be on any minute, so he's loading Chrome onto his computer. So crazy thing, I was waiting to get everything going and waiting for this fucking computer to boot up, and I think my neighbor killed his wife.
that's crazy. And like you looked out and saw all this shit going on.
Yeah, there's like the ambulance, this fire truck, somebody got not fire truck, sorry, but the cop cars, somebody got let out in cuffs, and they carried a bloody body out.
Jesus. Well,
Yeah.
that'll be on the news.
Oh yeah, that'll definitely. Well, maybe I'll see my house. I hope I have nothing illegal going on back there.
Oh, geez. You didn't hear anything, did you?
No, well, I mean, yeah, it must have been a stabbing.
Uh,
I think a gunshot I would have heard. I wasn't on with the headphones yet.
it's crazy. You think about it. So, like maybe an hour or two ago, we're sitting around, dicking around, doing whatever, and at that moment, somebody was literally losing their life, being murdered.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you're thinking about it,
I'm bitching about my computer at 100 feet away is fucking
right?
mayhem.
Like violent death occurring.
I'm gonna do a show for Miramar next week. Show topics.
Miramar, like the air station.
No, well, I'm technically in Miramar, Florida, not Miramar, California.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, you just gave that away.
You don't want to hate. You don't want to hate when something happens local. Oh yeah, that's okay. I don't care. Miramar's a big place. It's like there's like 200,000 people here. So
Nice.
good luck finding me. Although yeah, I did just give it away. They're gonna know which vicinity. We're gonna have people knocking. I'm gonna have our fan knocking on the door.
Right, because you just gave him two key pieces of information: the town
Sure.
you're in, and the fact that somebody on this date and time was murdered a couple hours down. Like you're done. You've been doxxed, bro. Everybody in the world knows where you are.
Yep. If anybody gave a shit, I'd be over.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how it happens though. It's a good thing though. It's a good lesson because yeah, if you were a celebrity and you actually had stalkers, that could get you into trouble.
Yeah. You could be the bloody mess.
And it would be your own fault though. It would be your own fault for being an idiot for giving away too much information.
Yeah.
But you know what I can't stand when I can't stand when something happens like close to you. And like it's something like, well, what the fuck was that? Like everybody in the neighborhood's outside looking, right? And you go onto the news. The helicopters are flying over the head. You go into the news because it's got to be on the news. What's going on? It's got to be on the news. And then it's not in the fucking news.
Yeah. And you just want to know. It's like I just want to know. It's right there. Somebody's got to be saying something about it.
I'm being respectful. I'm not going up to the people at the crime scene and saying, "Hey, what's going on here?"
All right.
Somebody else gets paid for that.
Yeah.
You'd think they had this courtesy, like
They need to have, and maybe they do, just like a raw feed or something that you could subscribe to.
Right? Where is that? Where is the fucking the mayhem, like the mayhem app where it tells you all the crazy shit that's going on? They should have like a ticker. You just have the app and it's just every area that has all horrible things that are going on.
There you go. Business idea.
It is a business idea. That's right. I don't know how you get all what is it? They do have one for when you're driving, Maze or some shit like that, or Waze, right? I think it's Waze. Yeah, and it tells you fucking because it's other people that are on the app that are fucking texting in. Yeah, this is what's going on. They should have that for the horrible things of life. What's it, for the scenes, what is over here? Yeah, this person just got fucking pushed in front of a train. Crazy shit.
That's interesting. Yeah, because there's always somebody up there that wants that is sort of privy. Like they're getting into the crime scene and asking those questions. I don't know.
And then there's, you're going home, you're trying to get on the train. There's the train you got to get on so you can get to your house in time, but you don't want to go down like a certain way. You got to go down a certain distance, and now you have to go that way. That's the train you have to take. You could have gone the other uptown and gone a different way, but no, you went this way. Only somebody got fucking murdered there, so the train isn't running. Now you're fucked.
Oh man.
you know, and you're thinking it's fucking cold. I gotta get home. It's Christmas time. My kids are waiting for me. These motherfuckers hold up the fucking train. I hope somebody died in there. Somebody better have fucking died.
Then you find out somebody did. But that can't. I mean, does it happen that often that it's going to mess up your plans that much?
Well, I mean, I've had my plans messed up in New York a lot.
I guess it depends on where you are.
Yeah, around here doesn't happen too much.
I think New York's gotten better though. Actually,
not since I left. What I've heard is the rumors are it's going to hell in a handbasket. It's like California. There's shit all over the place.
Oh, because I just it made like headline news like not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. New York had its first murderless weekend.
Well, that might be possible. The murder rate has consistently gone down, but there's a point where the other quality of life stuff, like there's a whole police thing, like the broken windows policy. Basically, they figure if they enforce people pissing in the corner, then there's going to be less people on the streets to commit crimes, and it's true, it does work, but it's also what leads to stop and frisk and all this other shit that is unconstitutional, even though that works too statistically. But like what happens, okay, so your murder rate is down because people it's a safe city. It's the safest big city in the world. Absolutely is. But then when it gets to the point where San Francisco is, where people are openly using fucking heroin in the streets and shitting on the floor, so that like you have to have professional human shit cleaners, and you have whole tent cities of homeless people and stuff like that. And it's just not to rag on homeless people, but there are people that are a step up or two above that. Dude, those are the ones that commit the crimes.
And speaking of the homeless, in San Francisco, they just imposed on corporations a homeless tax, basically a tax to bring in revenue to help take care of whatever their homeless problem is.
That's insane. And the thing is, the reason why most people are homeless is because they're mentally handicapped and they have issues, or they're drug addicts, and they're going to end up there anyway, no matter how much money you gave them. In New York, what they're doing is they're paying to put them in high-end fucking hotels. And I don't
even know that the money's going to them, but like it's costing the city so much money for whatever is occurring from it. It may not even be that.
Exactly. So what winds up happening is because you're spending so much money on these programs, and it takes away your ability to address other issues. So other issues come up, and then because you have so many more destitute people, and which brings the mentally deranged, then all of a sudden the rates start going back up again, and that's when places fall apart. Then so they're great for a while. The statistics look good in this, but if you don't make sure that everyone is in a civil manner and remove the ones that aren't, it always is going to go back the other way.
Right. It's crazy to think about that. Just the level. It's so much we need a special tax.
Yeah. That's insane. That's crazy. Although it's San Francisco, if you make $117,000 a year, you qualify for food stamps.
It's crazy. And the thing is, that was like no joke. It's not even trying to exaggerate. You're below the poverty line there. It's like you can't afford any place to live at that age.
I mean, imagine making $117,000 a year and having to walk around, and that you're on food stamps because that's how expensive it is. And yet you have to walk around fucking human shit everywhere you go. You have to, oh man, I stepped in that. What is that, dog shit? No.
Well, people are leaving in droves.
That's what happens. You want to live in a place that's nice, especially if it's that expensive. It's crazy. But, guess you don't always get what you pay for.
That's true. But New York, we segued off of that, and you were using San Francisco to make a point, and now I don't remember where that. You said like the broken window, so the murder rate might be down.
Oh no, but it was, I don't know how it spiraled in, but it spirals back up. Yeah, the murder rate might be down, but when all the other quality of life things go full apart, that murder rate's going to go back up eventually, and it's going to go back quickly. It's going to be like there are a lot of cities actually, but they don't talk about this kind of stuff. Like between 2014 and 2016, the murder rates in like 35 cities across the country jumped up to levels higher than the crack epidemic in the early 80s.
Jeez.
So yeah, so as much as things in places like New York are getting better, it's not the case in a lot of big cities. It's pretty fucked up out there. People, but they don't talk about that.
Chicago just consistently getting worse.
Yeah, but at the same time though, they're not, because most crime rates and violent crime rates are actually going down, except for certain areas.
Yeah, like as a nation, yeah, which
It's
is
so weird.
and the thing is,
Weird how shit happens.
I know, and you got people studying that, and you got a bunch of data, but at the end of the day, you don't really know because it's not like it's one root cause or even 10. It's like
Well,
thousands of things working together that make
and that's the thing. That's one of the things. Like, because I have a degree in social science, and that's I've had people even laughing at that. Oh, what's that? I've never even heard of that. It is the study of human societies and human relationships, and it's essentially that. It's like essentially, it's almost like fucking chaos theory for people. Have a butterfly flaps wing in Tokyo. Is it gonna have a fucking rainstorm here or some shit like that? Whatever, however the saying goes, and but it literally is like when you pass this economic plan, how does it affect everybody and all the way down to the individual level? It is literally thousands of interactions all the time happening that makes that happen. It's I mean, where we think it's settled on policy, but that it's not the policy itself. It's the law of unintended consequences. It's not that policy. It's how it actually affects living people and how they react to it towards other living people and other institutions. And it just fucking which is what I really would like to catch in our stories, is exactly that.
yeah.
You know, but it's so huge. Like, it's so hard to get people to grasp at when they just want the one word answer. It's sexism.
Right. Yeah.
No.
And there's a lot of randomness too, because it also depends on like 300 million people, like what any individual is going to respond. Like, what is the policy that was passed 5 years ago that on a sort of a side way caused this guy to lose his shit and then go in and like shoot up a convenience store? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. You can't put one thing on it, but like there were things that were done that led to that.
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. It's like, I think much smarter people than I think it was Steven Pinker. I think it was him that said it, but and he probably got this from somebody else. I don't know. But something to the effect of, in order to be a success, you need to win 3 lotteries. You need to get lucky 3 ways, and it's something like the genetic lottery. Okay, so you have to be either smart, you have to be talented enough, either smart enough or athletic enough, or just talented enough to do whatever it is that you're doing. You have to win what the fuck was it? It was essentially the lottery of placement, being born in the right family, being born in the right country, being born in the right time.
Or some people have said coming out of the correct vagina.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So you have to be born with the right stuff. You had to be born into the right situation. And then you need the regular old blind stinking luck.
Right.
You need things to fall the right way for you after the fact.
Yep.
If you don't have all 3 factors, you're fucked.
Right.
It's just, and that's why there's a 1% and everybody else is an asshole.
Right. And at the end of the day, to be honest, it's not like the placement and the genetics. For the most part, they only play the role in that they give you more of an opportunity to take advantage of that random blind luck when it presents itself. So it's not even like they're direct. It really is like you only get a few situations, and because you're in the right place and because you've got some of these right genetics, you were more apt to take advantage of this random thing that occurred. And maybe you get 5 of them, and most people can't capitalize on any of them. But because if you had the other 2 factors, you can capitalize.
Yeah. It's literally that. It is a Thomas Sowell book that recently just came out. I think it's the last one that he came out that I got on audiobook. I read all the audiobooks, and I read a lot of shit that's interesting. And I read, like, he's an economist, black conservative economist, and brilliant guy though. And he talks about specifically that. And I think he has like 5 different factors that have to go right. I think that's what he mentions it. I gotta get the name book. Um, but it's that was odd. You hear me?
I hear you. Yeah. Nothing
Okay.
seems to happen on my end.
Yeah. Okay. The video on my end is frozen. So okay, there it goes back there. So it was weird. But you hear a lot about besides the fact that I mentioned 1%, 99%. That's because very few people know how money works and know how to manipulate the system, which I'm actually just learning about. I'm 41 years old and just learning this. But then again, I talk to 30-year-old doctors that don't know how to make a simple budget. So it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I was having a discussion about that. There are so many simple, basic life skills that are what actually make the world move. And we learn none of it, not any of it. The just ways to focus yourself properly on things, to orientate yourself properly, to how to handle your money properly. That's one thing. Like you're Jewish, and I find religion fascinating, because it's belief systems, regardless of whatever it is. It's what makes people on the most important levels
Right.
see the world the way they see the world and act in it the way they act in it.
Sure.
Now, in the Jewish religion, learning how to handle money properly, is that not part of the religion? Like, is there a business part of it, aspect to it?
There's sort of indirectly, and basically what it comes down to is there is a lot of talk about, like, have if for lack of a better terminology, like, if you have these slaves, you need to make sure you take care of them and you spend the money and you treat them right or whatever. And you have to make sure that you donate. And if there's a guy that needs something, you give him money if he needs help. The saying was, I'd rather give 100 people that don't need a handout rather than give no one a handout and prevent the one guy who needs it from getting it. So from that aspect, there's a whole bunch of things that we talk about. Use your money wisely, do this, give when you can, and things of that nature. So sort of in an indirect way, it then results in people generally being a little more financially responsible.
Now there's a big thing, because we talked about mentorship, and mastery, and how a mentorship is something that used to be done, and it's how it takes 10,000 hours to master something. Is it something is there a family? Because it's also family is very important in your world.
Right.
There seems so then is there seems to be a thing about whatever the family business is, then passing that on. So
Well, yeah, it comes down to tradition. And so, and especially in the more orthodox communities, when you get into more cultural Judaism and liberal Judaism that doesn't necessarily live by every letter of it, you still have family businesses and all, because family is such a tight component that you don't really think of wanting to do anything else. So if you got a kosher butcher shop, your son is probably going to work in there and take over that too.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, it's also, that's the life that they know. And I guess that's the life that you knew when you were a boy. And it just kind of, yeah, I mean, I guess what's that, this is something they know in evolutionary psychology. Like, why are people still afraid of snakes? Why do you have phobias of snakes and spiders and stuff like that?
Right.
When you may have never encountered them. And that's actually passed it through your cells, which is weird that a deep ingrained fear of snakes would
Right.
be passed through through your cells, but it is. I guess when you are in now, and it's a weird thing. I was even thinking about this before. 3 generations. It takes 3 generations to domesticate an animal. It takes 3 generations to to change a culture, essentially. Now, why would that be if there's not a genetic component to getting set in a certain same way and do things a certain way? There's got to be something to that. Where this is the family that I come from. This is who we are. This is what we do.
Right. And there's even been studies that, because it used to be, your somatic cells, your body cells would have no effect on your sex cells, like reproducing. But what they have found out is you have an epigenome. not just a genome. So that if you're a guy who goes out drinking and smoking for your entire life and then go have children, the genetics that are passed on are going to be affected by those actions that you partook, for better or for worse. So if you've got activities that you're doing from a cultural perspective every day, coming home and doing these activities and being family and Shabbat every week and the holiday, all that stuff, I can see how that can then imprint itself genetically in some sort of way for future generations. I think it does model that as well.
I got to learn more about the science about that. I gotta see how that works.
That was what I
And then,
saw a documentary on it a couple of years ago. Freaking
huh.
fascinating. Yeah, check it out when you get a chance. The epigenome.
Epigenome. See, it's good we have this recorded because then I'm gonna forget that in about 12 minutes if it takes that long. But
Yeah,
luckily,
right.
it's recorded forever for us. But by the way, that's the name of that book is Discrimination and Disparities. He talks about that's Soul talks about just like the statistical facts. I sometimes have to slow myself down with my S's there. Uh, the statistical facts about what actually goes on and what factors actually lead to success. And it always is. It's never fucking one thing.
Right.
Racism, no, it's never one thing. It's always 25 different variables. And do you have these 5 things going on correctly for you right now?
Right.
If you don't, you're fucked.
It's sort of reminiscent of, you hear the stories of, like, let's say there was some war going on, and it's the story of a survivor and how, like, all these different moments, and they made the right choice and they grabbed their family and they did this and they escaped this and they avoided this and this thing sort of happened, and you're like, man, that is like one freaking awesome individual that, like, just knew what to do and knew what to do. But what you don't know is about the other 100,000 people that were trying to escape too and didn't make it. That
Yep.
guy got all the lucky ones in a row and basically won the lottery, if for that moment. But it's not like you can go out there and think, no, you can be a smarter person and take advantage of certain things, sure. But so much about what we do in this world is like out of our control.
And most of it is like right. And you could be the most successful person in the world. Step off the curb tomorrow and get hit by a bus.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
right. You don't know.
And I sort of think
So,
that leads back to what you were saying earlier, where um, they're teaching us the wrong things. They're teaching us to go proactively sort of make your success, whereas what they should be teaching you is to keep yourself, like, clear and good to go. That way, when the opportunity presents, you know exactly what to do. Like, you can't make certain things happen.
right. Well, that's exactly it. Kind of like the Star Wars, where you the will of the Force. You are constantly you're in a state of mind where you're constantly able to adapt to changing circumstances
Right.
because you are able to focus yourself on the things that are important and know the things that are important. Um, but it's actually interesting. You brought up a point before when you made a point saying, "Oh, it's not as good to say slaves." However, we talk about the things that we're taught about. It's not much different because if you are working for a paycheck, right? It doesn't matter, and this is something that I'm learning for these lessons I'm taking on the difference between rich people and poor people, right? If you're working for a living, at any moment, it can all go away.
Right.
You are completely beholden to whoever is that's signing over your paycheck. So you could think that you are free, but you are a slave. You have to get up. I have to go to work tomorrow to a place I don't want to go to and do something I don't want to do because I need the money. And the minute you decide to take that money away from me, I'm fucked. I have to
Right.
deal with my quality of life goes through the shitter, and then I have to fucking scrape and claw and hope I get something else that's just as good.
Right. And they take up so much of your time just to do that. You can't even, like, make something else happen. You give it all to that.
Oh man, like the amount that I can do in an 8-hour day if I wasn't at work. Jesus Christ.
Right.
It's insane to me that's but the thing is, and no matter how much you're making, your bills will always rise to meet your salary. So it's
Yeah.
never enough.
I've
That's
never
what
felt like we've outreached it. It's always just worse and worse and worse.
Yep, it's right, and then you because you have your certain standard of living and the things that you have to fucking keep up. Now all of a sudden you have to perform. Now you have to have that extra job, So it's it's and then the stress comes, and then people look at these privileged people, but they don't know all the fucking shit you have to do to fucking have those fucking things.
Right? Yeah, that's like with Jen, man. She's going out for. Here I go, like doxing my. Anyway, um, it's like my wife. She's going in for surgery next week, and stuff that she had due 2 months from now. Her boss wants it before next week.
It's fucking insane, right?
2 months to do.
Like, are you fucking crazy? Like really? Okay, because you're a caring individual, you
Right.
motherfucker.
And so she goes and she puts in, close to 10-hour day at the office, and now is coming home and working another 5 hours.
Yep. Oh, that's fucking crazy. And for what? Because so that 30% of your money gets taken away by the government to be sent to other things, to other people, to other programs that don't benefit you at all. And you can't even and you wouldn't mind if it was put in things like the roads, so you didn't hit a pothole every time you drive home, and now you have to buy a fucking tire too, and then fucking work for 5 hours.
Right. Not that that's happening.
You know what I mean?
And this area, I didn't realize how good I had it, like being out in Vegas and like sort of in the Midwest.
The roads are paved.
This shit is freaking good to get. Chicago can handle their shit, man. That area. I came back here. There are still potholes from last year. I mean,
the Northeast
I thought I was losing a wheel.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
it's crazy up there.
East Coast, man.
I wonder why that is too. I wonder why. It's not like there's not money there.
I know, right? I mean, we got Philadelphia and New York and like the DC area, all that, and this little area, tons of money.
It's got to be congestion. It's got to be because the amounts of people that are in such a small area. Because Chicago's not that big. Chicago's I mean, I say it's probably 2.5 million people. But the population of Chicago and LA can fit inside the population of New York.
No, Chicago's bigger than that.
The city area? Yeah, look that up.
Unknown, because I have a memory of being surprised by it.
What I can tell you, the reason why I know, this is why we're degenerates. You know why I know? Because we did a story on the amount of women that cheat on their husbands with their boss.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How much is it? Did you find it?
2.7 million.
Yeah. What did I say? 2.5, right?
Yeah, you were spot on.
Yeah.
And LA is 4 million. When you add them together, that's
yeah. Because and we did a story on one. There's two things about that. One is that we did a story on the amount of women that cheat on their husbands with somebody that they work with, and it is more people than the city of Chicago and LA combined.
Oh my God.
So that's how I know. But the second thing is that I'm like fucking Rain Man when it comes to this shit, right? Like I read constantly and I pick up all this information. And then when I get into these stupid arguments that I allow myself into because I'm an idiot, I just spew them out. We want where the links are. We want references because I'm spewing all this shit out, right? But I don't remember where I got it even. I know that I'm right. I know that I'm right. I just don't remember where I saw it. And most of it is from just Googling things. How many people live here? I don't know. How many, how many cities, how many more cities are there? How many cities would this fill up in this country of women who cheat with their boss? And then you look it up.
My wife's the same way, man. It pisses me off. I can't win any argument with her because she remembers everything. And there's stuff that I think I know, but then it gets a little foggy, and then I might remember the wrong thing, and I just get destroyed. And I read a lot too. I mean, I like stuff. I'm just not good with facts and figures.
I'm actually really lucky with that too, because people tell me something, and I will fucking go off on a tirade about why that's not correct. And then I would think to myself, wait a minute, do I have any idea what the fuck I'm talking about? I could be completely wrong. I sound like a total jackass. Yeah. And then
it happened once that I know of for a discussion that you and I had. It was only because I knew more about the subject than you did.
Net neutrality.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
It
it. Oh,
was,
yeah, the only time.
but I remember the exact argument.
That's good. Hey, that means you learn from your shit, right?
Well, but that's the thing. I try to
Yeah.
and I do remember part of that. There was a point where I realized that I was beat, and I switched quickly to learn what the fuck I'm talking about mode.
Yeah.
So that I just asked you questions at that point, like, but what about this? But what about that? Because
Right.
it still didn't make sense to me. That's one thing that I try to do is that because I like to know how things work. That's why I was an engineering major at first,
Right.
and now I like to know how people work. So that's why I do all the coaching shit, the psychology stuff.
You should have been a fucking attorney.
I should have been. It's true. I actually looked into doing it. It just the workload is just something I can't do now. But I probably should have been because I'm a really good bullshit artist.
It's not even just bullshit. It's just knowing. It's well, all it comes down to is knowing how to argue, and
Yeah.
knowing how to argue comes down to knowing how to be a good debater.
You have to. You have to have a certain amount of facts. Like Jordan Peterson says, you need 5 points of articulation because if you have 5 points, well, look at this. Walter finally got in.
Hey, I see a Walt face. He doesn't look happy though.
No, it's sticking because he kept popping up all night trying to get in,
Yeah,
and it just wasn't coming on.
Blue thing. Yeah. I wonder if it's the hotel internet is shitty.
Most likely.
Yeah.
Plus, he said, I think he hasn't used that laptop in a while. Well, you hear us?
Like, put up 2 fingers if you can hear us.
Yeah, I don't think he's got the picture on, but it's not even running.
It's not even moving anymore now. Oh.
At least the fuck were we talking about just now? Before Walt rudely interrupted us? You fucker.
5 points of articulation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Walt will chime in because he's heard all this stuff if he can hear us.
Right.
Right.
Need to start putting up flags.
He's gonna signal us to go with it. Walt says this.
Right.
Like he says you need if you have 5 points of articulation, if you have 5 reasons why you're right. Most people don't have 3. Most people can't get past the 3 points. So if you have 5, you're pretty much going to win most argument. So you have to actually have your facts, right? But it's not just that. Sometimes you have to do it where you have to argue in a way that doesn't let them off the hook, but where they know. Because like one thing that drives me nuts is circular arguments. You give people facts, you tell them exactly what it is. They disregard the facts, circle back to a previous argument they made, which wasn't supported by facts. And then it's a weird thing. You couldn't answer this. You're wrong. I'm right.
Yeah.
You know? But if you are able to get them where they say something and then you are able to twist it where you ask them the question, you present them the question to explain their logic without, and
it puts it on them.
Right. And then that's usually, see, I was actually talking about to my wife about this before. For me, that is always the point where, because and we started the whole conversation about belief systems, about being, talk about, getting why people see the world. One of the reasons why you can't change people politically, why you can't change anybody's mind, is because it is all based on a belief system. They believe that's how they see the world, is that way.
Right.
And
that's why these parties have a platform.
Right.
That is the belief system.
Right. Exactly.
You can't move from that unless you say, well, my beliefs were wrong. And
right.
That's really hard to do.
And that's exactly what it is. The whole world, I see everything I saw is where I lived my whole life wrong. Everything I see the whole world wrong. Right. So, even when, so then what happens is because they can't come off of that. It can't be that their worldview is wrong. It can't be that their map of the world is wrong. It's that you're an asshole.
That's right. Right. You're an asshole because you don't see what I see.
Right.
And I see it, so I know I'm right. And you're so stupid that you don't see it. It's just like with freaking Sinead O'Connor's freaking tirade that she went on. Did you hear about that?
Which one? This is probably about a year ago was the last one I saw.
Like in the past couple days.
No, I didn't know she went on. Well, I mean, you know what? Nobody pays attention to her anymore because now she's not hot anymore.
Yeah.
She was a hot ball chick.
She did that because she was sick of being raped.
Really?
Yeah, or at least that's what she says. She wanted herself to be as ugly as possible so that she'd be left alone.
Because she was sick to, because I heard that. I heard, but what I heard with the story was with because she was good looking and her mother, or something, some fight with her mother that, you're only getting by because you're good looking or something like that.
Well,
That's the story that I heard.
I forget what it was, but it was the first time she ever said why it was, just a couple of years ago, a few years ago, and it was because she was only being raped.
Okay, that kind of makes sense because that's something that somebody would do. Other than the only thing, and this is, and I'll give I'm an ignorant man. There's no woman in the room to teach me why I'm wrong, and I'll take that. I'm trying to take a platform that I'm always half wrong, so that I leave myself open to learning new things.
There you
go. The like what I don't understand is like she was tired of being raped. Like, who was constantly raping her all the time that shaving her head was going to keep them from doing it? Or is it just like a neighborhood of hooligans that
it was like a neighborhood of hooligans? So I don't think it was a particular person. The way that it sounded like, and like I said, I didn't read the entire thing start to finish. It was some excerpts that was explaining where she was coming from. It was just a matter of like going out into the world and every so often you would just get raped, just existing.
Yeah, so that's insane to me. Like, she's Irish, right?
Yeah.
Like, how fucking bad was Ireland in the early 80s, in the 70s?
I didn't live there. I'm not a woman, so it's like I only got her word to go by.
I mean, maybe my people are just a bunch of drunken rapists. I don't know.
Jeez. But she said she converted to Islam. She's now right. And then she went off and said, I never want to be around white people again. Basically, people who aren't Muslim. She refers to them as white people. She can't stand them. She says she's done all the research in the world, and the only logical conclusion is to be Muslim. And those who don't do that are stupid and don't deserve her time.
Well, I hope it works out for her.
Oh, it's like, whoa, dude.
But this is the chick that ripped up a picture of the Pope back in the time when you didn't.
No, but you know what? Hey, I think she was on to something because look at what's happening in the Catholic Church.
Well,
these boys.
I mean, this Pope now knew about the whole thing and covered it up.
The current one?
Yeah, the current one.
Oh, I thought he was one of the good ones. Damn.
Yeah, nah, he knew about it and covered it up. And he's also, but he's running around the world telling people that capitalism is evil. And meanwhile, look at Venezuela, but capitalism is evil. So that's right. I can't. I'm trying. I don't want to be political in the show, but we are moving into that. Hanging out, discussing things phase.
Sure.
But fuck, man.
Welcome feedback, right?
Yeah.
I mean, both, like, more than anything else, strive to learn the truth. And if there's anything that we're absolutely freaking wrong about, tell me.
Yeah. I think so with our audience. The only thing is, if you're a lunatic, stay away.
True.
We already got enough of those.
Yep. And some of them are on the show.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Anyway, I'm actually almost like too tired to go on anymore.
That's fine. Yeah, it was a good little session. I don't think I think Walt just isn't going to make it. And
no, he just texted. He's saying the computer can't get going. He's just sent the messenger on Facebook. Yeah. He can't get on because the computer's shit that he's using. The travel laptop doesn't travel.
Oh man.
Yeah, it could be like you said. It could be the combination of an older laptop and the hotel internet.
Right. Because they're usually crap in there because so many people are connected to them.
Right. Even us, though, our feed is popping in and out right now. They heard you talking bad about Sinead O'Connor, and YouTube is not going to have that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think somebody just said that there's this new game called Red Dead Redemption 2, and a guy had posted a video, and in that video, he like either shot or beat up a woman that was in it, and his video got banned.
That's insane.
That's stupid. It's a video.
Yeah, well,
it's a game where you're
that's
shooting up and killing a bunch of dudes all day long. That's the nature of the game. But like he smacked around a woman who was probably giving him shit, an NPC. It's not even like it was another person.
Right. That's great. Well, our last show, I advertised the show, and our last show, they approved the ad. Facebook approved the ad, and then it ran for a couple of days, and then I switched the audience, and they blocked it because of sexual suggestions.
Oh, so what did you change? What was the change?
And there was no change. It was just the audience. Because I do one section for the fans of the page, and then I do another rest of the week for people that might be into the topic, right? So I send it around to our fans first, and then other people, right?
That's what I meant. What was the demographic?
I actually changed it to men only, and it was specifically people that like writing and the writing process and that kind of stuff.
Oh, so maybe there's just some dude out there that complained.
No, because they don't even have the chance to complain. They get they approve it or deny it before it goes out to anybody.
Oh, so this was even before. It wasn't like they recalled it.
Right. It was the same ad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. An ad that they had approved, they rejected it 2 days later for sexual exploitation or some shit like that, for sexual suggestions. And it was literally the same thing.
Could they like cite what it is?
Yeah, I actually asked them, and I said, well, because I was like, this was the same exact ad you approved 2 days ago. What is going on? Do you even bother checking? At what point do you even actually look at these things anymore?
Oh my god.
So no, so I don't know, I mean, I guess I'm kind of for the, making sure crazy shit isn't going on all the time. And I could be a little bit forgiving in that, okay, but like certain things, I think it was a picture of Walt in the thumbnail. But at least have your algorithms, not picking things up randomly. Was it a random person because some other idiot decided, no, that's no good? They were actually checking it, like, because you would think an algorithm would not pick it up if it didn't pick it up the first time.
Right. The only thing I can think of is that the algorithm might look at it differently because if it's people that are fans of the page, it probably does.
They already know.
No checks. Huh?
Okay. They already know the deal, so they're figuring.
Yeah. If you're a fan of the page, that means you've opted in to the content. Is that it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it. Yeah, that makes that. I mean, that would make sense.
You got to go.
Yeah, it's the creatures are stirring, and it ain't even a mouse.
All right, man. Well, we can do this. That was again.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll see how that went.
No,
anyway,
it won't be me next week. I forgot about that. Yeah, because Wednesday. Yeah, it's going to be a rough couple of weeks after.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do. I got to see. Well, the thing is, again, next week we don't have to go on. I'm concerned about content of quality, having quality shows, quality conversations, not necessarily going on every week.
Right.
So so next week, and I already said if we do show tonight, we're going to take a break for next week. So we'll take a break for next week, and that's good. We do have to audience appeal. I don't know. I think we have pretty good shows. I think maybe switching back to more of a standard relaxing thing is going to be better for us. We have 180, in the last month, we've had 100, 200 people looking at the show. But, whatever. We want more than that. We need 2,000 people.
And they need to engage longer.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
hold on that. Do you think some of the episodes are too long?
I think they're all too long.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Sometimes you just split them up, or make it a point to make it shorter.
I think they're all too long. What I know for a fact about how people consume video on the internet, well, anything on the internet, is they want it in short periods. This long stuff is okay for a podcast, but they're still even only going to listen for it while they're on the drive. So you have a half an hour.
That's what I was going to say. It's 20 to 30 minutes is what
Yeah, you have a half an hour, and even that for the purposes of something like Facebook, it's got to be all cut up into 3-minute blocks. So if you're doing a particular subject, like last week we talked about the Marvel Universe, you have about You have a few minutes to talk about that, 3-5 minutes, and then people are going to turn you off. That's just the nature of how we are. So you got to get them in the first 3 minutes. It's like when we write a book, you got to get them on the first page, and
you start with the action.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true. If you don't get somebody in with the first page, you're fucked. So for us, it's kind of the same thing. And now, one of the things that does make the videos portion of it, because I haven't been up to date on the SoundCloud, and that's my fuck up. With the videos, we're a bunch of older dudes. If we had a cute chick that was on once in a while, you get more viewership.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, it's just it's a reality. But we are not that kind of show where, as it was put to me by a female, it's like eavesdropping on a man cave. It's a man cave conversation. Is what it is.
But we can still market to that though. That's the thing. Like there is a way to say, you know, I don't know what that answer is, but there is a way to appeal to the girlfriend or wife wanting to watch the show.
An interesting thing. Walt, I was talking about how Walt and I learned a lot of the pickup artist stuff, and right. I had to stop doing it because it was like a sociopath's handbook. I mean, I like literally, like you can walk into any place, but if you know the different triggers, you can walk into any place and walk out with somebody, right? Walk out with somebody's wife. It's crazy, and that's real shit. It's psychology. It's real. But from all the stuff that I learned, the people that were most interested in learning about it were women.
It's like a defense against the dark arts kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah, kind of. You know, learn kind of how men think, learn how other women think, and why they fall for the shit. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting shit, but it's also because women think more in terms of relationships, whereas men think more in terms of problem solving. So, you know, it's something that would probably hit a woman's brain with more interest.
Right.
You know, whereas a man would, I don't need to know tricks. I'm a man.
It's true. I know all I need to know.
Look at my man. Look at my moobs.
Right.
She's gonna suck my hairy moobs.
I can make them dance for you.
Oh. Have you ever seen a moob with a mustache? At the point we start talking about moobs, though, it's you know. But you have anything else you want to add before we go?
No, just no. It's coming on the end of the year. If I don't see you before the holidays, enjoy.
Yeah, same to you. Well, I'll probably hopefully maybe at least over Thanksgiving weekend, I could pop on and see what you're doing. Even if it's not one of our formal shows, just you and I doing like Mendoza Presents stuff. If you could steal a moment, we'll see how it works.
Yeah, it'll sound good. Yeah, you know, I mean, a lot of it's just adjusting because I'm going to be just primarily just doing everything morning to night, so it's more about I'll probably be exhausted.
Yeah, I know the deal. Yeah, it's like have the kids when you first come home.
Yeah. So. But yeah, I will probably be able to steal some time away for it. Yep.
All right, cool. Folks, if you have any specific topics that you want us to go over, and don't worry, we'll get back into our horrible news stories that people can't believe are real. We'll get more into that again. But if you want anything we want to go over specifically, you want to hear us talk about, let us know. Check us out on YouTube. On SoundCloud, the Mendoza Presents, it's Mad Team C, The Garage, and check out our books, the Mendoza Presents on YouTube, on Amazon. I'm all over the place here.
That's right.
Yeah. The more that it's entertaining stuff, and the more money we make, the more we can put into the show. So check us out. It's fun stuff. Enjoy it. It's cheap.
Help us do this full time.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that the old thing?
Exactly. Well, good night, folks.